And one day they'll grow up and they'll be moving out. It is such an exciting time, though, to get your first apartment, move out of your parents' house. There's also a lot of emotion involved, though. Our cameras followed Alex in her journey for independence.
I'm Alex, I'm 22, and this is my first apartment. I'm so excited. It's 500 square feet. It's not that big, but it's all my own and I love it. It's great to have my own space, but it's also very weird to come home to no one.
Nice meeting.
Hi.
Everything happened really fast for us. I'm not sure if that's just a parent's perspective, but you know, suddenly high school, university, part-time jobs, internship, full-time job, moving out. Like it was just boom, boom, boom in her particular case. And I don't know if she's adjusted, but I haven't quite adjusted to it all.
I had been commuting from Richmond Hill for 4 years going to Ryerson, and then I got a job downtown and had the same commute, and eventually it was just too much. So I decided that I had enough money to try and do it on my own.
Marilyn and I went and rented a truck at 8 o'clock in the morning and brought it back, and we started to load it up. Overall, it was actually a really nice memory that day. When we left, it was, you know, you kind of got a little bit choked
A little
up.
emotional. Yeah.
Okay, so did I.
Everyone was crying. I didn't think I would cry, but I did. It was a sad moment because it was so official, you know, like the closing the door on like a chapter of my life. So back home in Richmond Hill, I had a huge closet with lots of space, and now I kind of just have this rack, but it makes it a lot easier to find all my clothes. I like that I have time to kind of try to cook some stuff in my kitchen. I love lying on the couch and watching TV. I like every different part of it.
She's always been very responsible, organized, so I knew that wouldn't be a concern at all. You know, getting home still lets me know if when she's home. I think it's to make me feel good.
Hey, what did you do to my bedroom? Who said you could turn it into an office?
Your mother.
Oh, I have to go talk to her about that.
It's also part of life. You realize that you have to move on, and the fact that she's doing so well and she's so successful and smart and pretty and funny, all those great things that I am, makes you feel...
Totally takes out of you.
Yeah, exactly. Makes you feel good about it.
You know what, as a parent watching that, you get a little choked up. Alex, of course, works with us as a unit assistant, so we're so happy for her, and we have been following this story because this is real life. This is what's going to happen with our
Tracy,
babies.
this is going to be us.
I don't want to talk about it.
You know what, this is me in 10 years. I've actually started thinking, like, we've got 10 years before they're...
Yeah, that's the way it is. So let's talk a little bit about the emotional adjustment.
For parents.
She's probably fine.
Oh, you're fine. It's your mom and dad. They're like kind of like adjusting to this new stage. So
it can be tough.
It can be tough. So tip number one is I really recommend this. When we're working with families at our counseling center, it's amazing how many parents are like, how do we navigate this? Mm-hmm. How do we launch our kids or adult kids, but also making sure that they've got the right necessary life skills? And the financial piece is a huge one. So tip number one is I call it playing house. Mm-hmm. I strongly recommend that if you think that your adult child is about to kind of, you know, they want to move out, encourage them to play house where they basically figure out how much you think it's going to cost, rent, food, phone, all of your expenses, figure out what that amount is $1,000, $1,200, $1,500, and for 3 months, your kids will be giving you a check for those 3 months.
Mm-hmm. I like where you're going with this.
So you're playing house, and what that does is it helps them understand just how tight things are going to be, how they have to start putting their budget together, but then that also becomes their safety net. So when they leave, that is their security behind. You do not want people to be moving out with no savings.
Right, very smart.
And the other thing is, for a lot of people, depending with where you're renting, they're going to want you to sign a lease. Mm-hmm. And depending on your job situation, if you don't have a solid job, they're going to want parents to co-sign. And as a parent, I would not be recommending any parent to co-sign unless you have your kids have proven they know actually how to save and they actually have this money saved up.
Right, or you're going to tie yourself into a bad situation.
Oh yes,
that's not a good thing.
Yeah, so playing house is a great way to kind of it builds in a lot of great life skills in a really simple way. But 3 months, I'd say 3 to 6 months you play house before
before even going anywhere. I like that you say be honest, but be positive, because sometimes parents can be a little bit too critical.
Yeah, and I've seen this with clients before where, I had one client, she was 23, she's moving out, she's all excited, and so they started kind of looking at the different apartments, and, her mom was just really critical. I don't like this place, I don't like this place, and so what happened was she didn't want to bring her mom anymore.
Right.
And I said to mom, like, this isn't your apartment, this is her apartment, and she doesn't have 3,000, she's got 800. So what kind of apartment you're going to be finding is not going to be like, so, you want to make sure that you're positive. But when you're seeing some concerns, you want to make sure that you're voicing that as well.
Right.
But you just want to make sure that you do frame it in a positive way, because otherwise they're going to get discouraged.
Talk expectations. So it's interesting. So Alex's mom said she's still, texting me or calling me when she gets home, which is a sweet thing. But you actually have to work that stuff out, because if your parents expect to always know what you're doing, and you don't want to do that, you have to work that out.
You have to work that out, and so that will be kind of like when you're kind of just about to kind of literally move out. Talk expectations. What are you both expecting is going to happen in this next phase? Are you going to be doing like the weekly Sunday night dinners? Are you going to be calling every day? Are you going to be texting every day? What happens if you text and somebody doesn't text you right back? What exactly are you each actually expecting, and try to get that kind of talked out.
Yes.
So then you don't have to kind of all freak out and worry, because, Alex might have kind of moved on. Her mom might be like, gosh, I need a little bit more time.
Yes.
So you want to just kind of like be careful and kind with your parents as you're kind of going through this transition as well.
I understand it's tough for everyone. Declutter and give away. That's a nice one. You can score a lot of good stuff from your parents' house.
Okay, so listen, when you're moving out, you don't have a lot of cash.
No.
Things are a little bit tight. So great option is for parents, once you actually have, the apartment has actually been figured out, do your map, do your measurements, find out how much space you have, then parents is a great way for you to contribute. Go through all your stuff and start going through and declutter the furniture that you're not really using. Yeah. You can actually give that to your adult children as they actually launch, and then every time they sit on that sofa or that chair, they will be thinking of you.
Yes, they will. Kind of.
Or not, maybe. But you'll think that they're thinking of you.
That's right. Absolutely. I know my parents went through such a tough time, and I found it hard because living home for so long, you get used to having people around.
Do you actually have your own apartment or no?
So I went away to school and then I came back, which is sort of a typical immigrant kid thing to do.
Alex, you might be going back at some point.
Well, she's sort of gone on her own after school, but I went to school, I came back, and then I got married, and that's when I bought a house.
Okay.
And so, it was tough. That's a big transition for me and for them.
Yeah.
They want me to move back home now.
Right.
With my husband and kids. Like, we could all live together in their house.
There you go. Some cultures do that.
Some do.
Yes.